What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, TGS happened. Xbox at TGS happened. And other things happened. I'm going to talk about TGS first. Now, a lot of people are like, oh my God, this show was trash, blah, 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 da, da, da. But people don't understand context, right? They also don't understand different regions and different markets, right? Right. So Japan is a smaller market than the Western market, let's just say, North America. Definitely smaller. Maybe 100, how many? How many millions? Not that many over in Japan. But it's not just Japan, it's Asia. So it's more. It's actually, okay, I just take it back because I'm dumb. If you include India, which you should, because Asia, then it's more. But I think that the games that they showed at TGS is more JRPG centric or Japanese centric or anime centric, if you will. So I don't know if India is part of that. I'd have to do some research on the Indian gaming market as far as what games are coming out of India. You know, what game makers. I'm sure there are like studios, support studios that are in India because, you know, cheap labor is cheap labor, don't matter where it's from. So, but I'm thinking about that. But anyway, so the games that they showed at TGS, Xbox, were anime flavored. You want to say that? And I know anime is supposed to be, I mean, technically it's Japanese animation, but there is Korean anime, there's Chinese anime, if you will. I don't know if there are special words for those distinctions from the different countries, but whatever. When you say anime, let's just say all of Asia, except for India, whatever. So, that being said, the purpose of the games that they showed and the purpose of not so much the format, but the purpose of the variety of games that they showed was to appeal to a certain audience, which is Asia, right? It's not going to appeal to most of the Westerners because art style, many RPGs, or gacha games, or whatever, right? And those just aren't typically what we like. Now, I grew up on Phantasy Star, hello Sega, and I didn't grow up on Final Fantasy. So the whole Final Fantasy announcement 1 through 6, I think it was, I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, maybe I'll check them out, who knows? But not a big deal. One JRPG that was a Square joint was Dragon Quest 3 2D HD remake. Was that what? Or HD 2D remake? I don't remember what the HD had to do. Anyway, I saw that, right? So here's the thing. For me, if a game looks good, the game looks good. That's not going to really be like, okay, it looks cool, maybe I'll play it, right? But what got me with Dragon Quest 3? The music. Yo, I mean, the game was like, okay, that's kind of cool with the pixel characters and the 3D backgrounds and stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, that's all right. But the music was like, boosh. I was like, okay, you know what? I like that music. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are like, yo, the Final Fantasy musics are so good and the JRPG musics are all so good, blah, 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 blah. And generally, I don't really like the music from those games. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad music, but I don't prefer it because maybe it's a Japanese thing or something, or Japanese composers or something like that. But it seems light and airy, which is not a bad thing, but it's just not, it doesn't feel as impactful to me. But the Dragon Quest 3 music, go back and listen to it, was like, oh, this sounds like some old John Williams, not John Williams, because John Williams is a little played out, but more of I don't want to say Western composer. It might be like maybe a British composer or something along the lines of I don't want to say Dvorak, but it's just different than Japanese anime RPG composers that usually are like Final Fantasy, let's just say. I don't know what the original sounded like, so I'm just based off of the 2D HD remake, and I'm definitely getting that game. I'm buying that game. I don't care if it's on Game Pass or not. And that's the thing, right? A lot of ponies and Donkey Unicorns, they're like, oh, you guys, you Xbox don't buy games, blah, blah, blah. We all know that the opposite is true. PlayStation ponies and Donkey Unicorns don't buy games. PlayStation casuals don't buy games, because if they did, then Concord would still be around. Yes. What else would still be around? Square Enix wouldn't be going, looking for some other homes to sell their wares, right? All these things wouldn't be happening on the PlayStation side if ponies and Donkey Unicorns bought games, because according to Sony, y'all got 60-something million consoles. Can't barely break 1 million, can barely break 2 million for these Final Fantasy Rebirth. Oh man, it's the best RPG ever. It's so good. Look at this remake. Can't even sell 2 million copies because y'all don't buy games. Anyway, we buy games when we want them. Game Pass is a tool, I would say. Game Pass is an option for gamers to try more games without having to roll the dice and say, I'll buy everything because I'm a gamer. It's also a tool for content creators who stream. Now, I used to stream back in the day. I used to do a podcast and all that stuff. Maybe I'll get back to that one day, but right now I'm not thinking about that. But if I were to say, oh, I'm going to start streaming games, Game Pass, hello. You know what I was thinking? Which is the dumbest idea that I've ever had, but it was something. I was going to say, I said this before, I was going to say, I have Game Pass, right? So I'm going to go through all the games in Game Pass alphabetically every stream. I'm going to play every game, every stream. Like, I don't know how long each stream is going to be, maybe an hour or two. I used to stream for 2 hours every Sunday at 7 o'clock. Anyway, that would be interesting to go alphabetically through all the games in Game Pass and just be like, boosh, 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 boosh. How long that would take? I mean, I think there's over 300, 400, maybe close to 500 games now. I don't even actually know. I mean, that's years. If you do it every day, which is kind of impossible. So yeah, that's years. Anyway, TGS. So, Dragon Quest 3, that's a buy for me. I'm like, yo, that music got me. I'll buy the game just for the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. Excuse me. There were other games, Starry Bits or something like that. That was interesting. I was like, okay. A lot of it was, all right, that looks, I'll check it out type of vibe, because it's like, I have no idea what this is. I don't know if this is a pre-existing property. I don't know if this is an anime, a manga. I don't know what's going on, but it looks okay. So, hey, let's try it out. That one, the other one that kind of piqued my interest because it was different was, I forgot what it's called. Sorry. But it's the one where you're like it's Slitter something? Slitter? Forget it. Anyway, you go into different bodies. Like in the body, and you kind of possessing one body, and then and you go to another body and doing. I was like, yo, what is this crazy game? And the dude was talking. I was like, all right, that's what's up. See, once again, piqued my interest. Interesting. It could be dope. It could be hot trash garbage. Who knows? But I think the difference between a TGS show for Microsoft and a regular show is that they're trying to, once again, cater to the Asian market. And so, they're going to have a bunch of Asian devs and Asian games, if you will, for lack of a better term. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to force American games into the Asian market. They're trying to meet them where they're at and say, okay, I mean, they've got smart people over at Microsoft. They'll say, okay, what games are popping that are from Asia, from China, from Japan, They look at them, all these gotcha games, all this other stuff. And then they say, okay, what are people making? What studios are making stuff from Japan? Blah, 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 blah. Let's get this one. Let's get that one. And that's what they're doing. And that's smart. I'm sure. I mean, Indiana Jones was there and Starfield was there, but that's only because they're doing Japanese localization, which is dope. And they played a little bit of India. I was like, oh, okay, all right. Maybe I'll play it through one time and I'll play it through the second time in Japanese or something. That's kind of interesting. But that's what they're doing for Japan. And for America, it's more of, oh, that looks cool. You know what? I'm still going to go back and blame Sony for the state of the industry today, because they have brainwashed many gamers into thinking that games like The Last of Us Part 2, God of War, these walking, talking, sad dad simulators with super dope movie-like graphics are what the top of the iceberg are, the tip of the pyramid, the tip of the spear, whatever you want to call it. That's the games. That's what, if it ain't that, then it's a B game or it's an indie game or whatever. That's not the case. And Sony's finding out the hard way that they're not making money off of their AAA, quadruple A games, because that's not the case. Games that sell, games that make that money, none of those games. And you notice at TGS from Microsoft, you didn't see any game like that, did you? You didn't see no sad dad walking behind the back simulator, did you? No, you didn't. And it's ironic that Sony, a Japanese console manufacturer, doesn't have those type of games. They have all these Western games, which are not getting them the results that they need. And so Microsoft sees all these things that's happening. They're seeing what Sony's doing. They're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Cause Concord, remember? Always remember Concord. I always told you, I'm never going to forget Concord, and I won't let you forget Concord. Pisser technology, make everything yellow. Anyway, so Microsoft sees everything that's going on. Xbox is looking. They're like, yo, okay, they doing that. Haha. What should we do? Boom. And so they're making inroads. They're just starting now to do what they need to do in order to be a presence in Japan. Now people say, oh, but they got rid of Tango Gameworks and now it's the Japanese studio. There's a reason why a giant corporation, a $1 trillion corporation like Microsoft will say, yeah, nah, y'all got to go, right? And remember, who bought them? Krafton bought them. And now Krafton's like, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, nah, that's not gonna make us any money. Nah, we ain't gonna, man, nah, we're not doing that. And I didn't hear nobody saying nothing. Everybody was crying. They were like, oh my gosh, Microsoft, oh, Hi-Fi Rush, such a good game. Hi-Fi Rush 2 needs to come out, blah, 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 right? Microsoft saw that, it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was cool, but we ain't making no money. And if we got to do that again, potentially bigger because it's a sequel, yeah, we're not going to make any money again. So why a smart business would not invest in something that loses them money? And doing the same thing, even worse, even spending more money on the same thing, knowing that it's not going to make you that money, that's just bad business. That's what Sony's been doing for years. They've been snaking by. But Microsoft is like, yeah, you know what? We'd rather take the bad press real quick than eat a couple $100 million. But Sony, they like eating $100 million. I guess they like to go into debt. Anyway, so Microsoft is watching. Xbox is watching. They're seeing everything that's happening in the industry, and they're making their decisions based off of industry trends, yes. Gamer trends, yes. Gamer habits, yes. The actual generation that is moving into from young adult to adult status, getting a career, getting that disposable income in order to potentially buy their products. So when they get to that age, what products would they want to buy, right? And Microsoft was like, okay, well, they're all playing on phone and tablets right now, so maybe we should do some handheld stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then by the time they ready, they got their first job, the Super Xbox handheld come out, XP, no, not XP, HP, no. The handheld, somebody said Go X or X Go or something. The XG, that's not bad. XGG, Gaming Go C, console, Gaming Buddy, GB, no. Anyway, that's the things that giant corporations like this that have and that employ so many people. There are people there that have to think about future products and the future potential customers. And Sony, for some reason, I'm looking at PlayStation, right? You know, just look at PlayStation, not Sony, but Sony, you know, they run things, but PlayStation, for instance. I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, what they're doing right now is they're copying what they did last generation. They said, okay, we did a PS4 Pro, and we did the PS4, then we did the PS4 Pro, right? Halfway through the generation, and then boom, that's what we did. And then it was cool. And at the halfway point, we got all these bangers, and everybody loved it. Blah, blah, blah. They forgot to take into account that Xbox, with the Xbox One, gave them the W. They gave them that generation. They said, here you go, PlayStation and Sony, here, win. Because we don't want to win this shit, because, you know, Don Matrix just sealed our fate, and this and that and the third. And so it's a shite show. And they were handed the victory. They were handed the W last gen, but they're acting like they did something above and beyond that caused them to win. Why they won is because they didn't have competition for the most part. Their competition was stepping on rakes. Right? Ryan McCaffrey, you like to use that metaphor. That's what was happening last gen. But this gen is different. Because this gen, Xbox isn't stepping on rakes. I mean, these content creators and all these in the media, they're trying to make you believe that they are. But they're not. They say, oh, the messaging is so bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, what about the games, though? How come Xbox has more games than PlayStation? How come Xbox has more studios than PlayStation? How come Xbox has a roadmap, PlayStation ain't got enough? How come? PlayStation's been coasting this whole generation, and they're doing the same thing that they did last generation. They're not adapting to the situation. They're not adapting to competition. This generation, there's competition. This generation, Xbox say, you know what? We're not just going to lay down and let you walk all over us. We don't need to rebuild. We don't need to do the things we needed to do last generation, because they started last generation rebuilding, doing the PC move, you know, day and date and all that stuff. And then they said, you know what? That's not enough. We need more studios. We need more content. Game Pass. They did all these things. And Sony did nothing. They reacted, oh, PS Plus and PS Now, they put it together and it's a Game Pass competitor. They said that. Jim Ryan said, yeah, we got a game. It's better. Ours is better. No, it's not. It's still not. He quit. He got fired. Still not better. And so I'm looking at PlayStation right now, and they're sitting here. They got the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? Way overpriced. They're nickel and diamond. At every turn, they're nickel. This whole generation, they've been nickel and diamond. They raise the price. They raise the price again. They raise the price of the services. They raise the price of controllers. They raise the price in Japan, causing people to buy Xboxes. They raise the price of the Pro, if you want to base it off of past business, you know, dealings. And here's the thing about that. Here's my theory. The PS5 Pro is $699. It's $700. Not because they don't want to lose money on each. They don't want to, you know, they want to make money on, they don't want to subsidize anymore. They're doing it because they saw what happened with the PS5, with the scalpers. Now, here's my theory upon a theory. My theory is that, yes, there are scalpers. There's scalpers out there, but I think that some of those scalpers are actually kind of secretly, maybe behind the scenes, allegedly working for Sony. You know what I'm saying? Hero Johnson from Akihabara. Maybe, I don't know where he's from. He's I work for. No, I don't. Yeah, I know. You know. And so they have all these scalpers buying the PlayStation 5 Pro, buying it up, and putting it up on eBay. Now, the 30th anniversary edition, that's what I'm really talking about, because why would you, okay, you're going to make an anniversary edition, right? If your console was this hot, if it was this hot and you were so confident about how hot your console is, you would put out more than 12,300 units, right? maybe 50,000 or 20,000, 25,000. If they did 25,000, I would be like, okay, but 12,000 really? And they're charging $1,000 for the. I'm like, what? That's way. They're not losing any money off of that, right? Also, it's so high that it's like, okay, well, it's high, but like I said, they saw what happened for the PS5 and the scalpers, so they're like, yo, these scalpers are gonna pick these all up. So why don't we charge them extra so that we can get that money? We get extra money. We're not losing any money, right? And then I was like, okay, that's kind of smart. But then I said, well, what if they're the actual scalpers, right? So think it through. If they're the scalpers, let's just say 50% of all the scalpers are actually Sony, right? Sony, a third-party independent contract, whatever you want to call them, they work for Sony, right? And so you go to eBay, $4,000. From $1,000, it's 4 times the price. Now, if they're Sony, they're not just making $1,000, which is, what do they make, a couple $100 off of that? With all the, But if they're making 4 times, they're raking in the dough. So I'm saying this conspiracy theory only because Sony is shiesty. Sony has been shown to do some dirty dirt, right? Not D-U-R-T, D-I-R-T. Okay, sorry, blackness. And I'm like, I wouldn't put it past them. Because remember when Jim Ryan said, oh man, we don't want the Xbox to mess up the PlayStation version of Call of Duty, make it less than. I'm like, wait a second, why would you say something like that unless that's what y'all are doing on PlayStation? Because that parity clause, it makes me so mad because the PlayStation 5 regular, the amateur, is not as powerful as the Xbox. We all know this, right? And we know it even more so because they had to put out a PlayStation 5 Pro to compete with the power of the Xbox Series X. Now, people say, no, Digital Foundry. Like, no, that's not how it's working. They are optimizing for the PlayStation 5 and just throwing it on the Xbox. The Xbox can brute force and do it, no problem. And the problem is, when you see games that are optimized for Xbox versus PlayStation, they're always better on Xbox. Always better on Xbox. Always. There's never a chance that a game that's not optimized for Xbox is better on PlayStation. It'll never happen because look at the power on paper. Look at the power on paper for the PlayStation 5 Pro. Look at the difference. They're so close. So anyway, sorry, tangent. But, this whole generation has been ridiculous with that. And person almost hit me, yo. And it's like, I don't get it, man. Well, I mean, I do get it, but it's like, it's just a waste of time. Kind of trying to talk about those things. But I do anyway, because I'm dumb. But anyway, TGS was nice. PlayStation, they're ripping off their customers, and I think they are the scalpers, honestly. I think that there's a great possibility that, I mean, it'll probably never come out. And if it does come out, it'll be the greatest scandal probably in video game history. Maybe not. But it's just something to think about. I don't know if anybody's going to look into it or anything like that. Like, let's look at these scalpers. Let's see if there's any connection with this and that. But it's not going to happen. There's not going to be any journalistic integrity to go and research this or investigate this because they're all on Sony's payroll. They're all sucking Sony's phallus, if you will. And so it's like, it's disgusting and it's frustrating. But what's going to happen? I mean, look, you're seeing what's happening. Sony's falling apart. They're losing money. They're charging you guys. And the bottom line, last thing, is that the donkey unicorns and the ponies can only hold on for so long. They can only prop up PlayStation as the good guy or as the choice for so long. And I'm slowly hearing stories of PlayStation dudes or PlayStation players who are curious about this thing called Game Pass. What's this Game Pass? I want to check it out. What's going on here? And the more that they, all it takes is them to see one commercial with Call of Duty and say Game Pass at the end. It's like, what's Game Pass? Xbox, what? Huh? And then they go on their phone, beep boop, beep boop. Okay, it doesn't do that. But it's like, I want to do that. I want to put the Indiana Jones punch sounds on my phone, so when it does the boop, 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 I want that's what I want. Anyway, but yeah, it's slowly happening. And if you thought it was going to happen just like that, no, of course not. This is like a generational thing. It would take at least half of a generation for movement like this to happen. It takes a whole generation for Sony to mess up so bad that Xbox is taking the lead, given that Xbox is making the right moves and making moves to give themselves a proper position in this competition. You know, and Sony's not trying as hard because they can't afford to do it. But anyway, I'm sorry, it's going on. Once again, hit me up in the comments, let me know what's up. And yeah, what do you think about Sony's charging crazy dollars? You think they're the scalpers? I think they're the scalpers. If they're not the scalpers, they priced it for scalpers to make that money, blah, blah, blah. It's all about money, Sony, anyway. They don't care about the customer at all. And also, TGS, what was your favorite Jibby Jam games on the Xbox joint? Like I said, it was, for me, is the jitter beditter, I forgot what it's called. And Dragon Quest 3 remake 2D super dope version. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. Check y'all on the next one. Till the week.